Welcome to episode 74 of The Place of Sound. I'm your host, Natalie Hall. The Place of Sound is a show that explores the theme of space, or social geography, using sound and listening. Usually, we hear work produced in Vincent Andrusani's fourth-year course, Comms 4501 Digital Media Production. But today, the Azrieli School of Architecture and Urbanism will be taking over. Every other year, Professor Susie Harris-Brandt teaches Architecture 4300, Theories of Urbanism. The course looks at urban theory, what it is, its geographical constraints, and, in the assignments we will be playing today, its very real impacts on the spaces around us. This episode is the first in a two-part series. First, you will hear about Tactical Urbanism by Charbel, Amos, and Ikem. Tactical urbanism is kind of like the reverse of paving paradise to put up a parking lot. It is a design theory that revitalizes pre-existing structures throughout a city to promote whimsy and community connection. Now I'll have the experts take it away. They will be walking you through some ways tactical urbanism is used and its lasting impacts.
It's 2005, San Francisco. A group called Rebar, along with citizens, activists, and local businesses, launch Parking Day, a global event to transform parking spots into vibrant public spaces. What started as a single parking space turned mini park has since blossomed into a worldwide movement. With municipal budgets stretched thin and urban land at a premium, Parking Day offers a creative solution by repurposing underused areas like parking spots into mini parks. It challenges our perceptions of urban spaces. This grassroots initiative sparks discussion on urban design, sustainability, and community engagement. Fast forward to today, and Parking Day has spread far beyond San Francisco, from Miami's Bayfront Parkway to cities worldwide. Citizens, artists, and activists continue to reimagine urban spaces, one parking spot at a time. Hello all, and welcome to Sidewalk Stories, the podcast where we explore the transformative power of tactical urbanism. I'm your host, Charbel, and in this episode, we'll dive into the world of tactical urbanism, from temporary interventions to long-term change. Join us as we uncover the stories behind these urban transformations and discover how small, tactical changes can lead to big, lasting improvements in our cities. This is Sidewalk Stories. Let's start transforming our cities one street at a time. What exactly is tactical urbanism? Well, it's about empowering communities to reclaim their streets, parks, and public spaces. It's about thinking creatively and acting swiftly to make cities more livable, vibrant, and inclusive. The Tactical Urbanist's Guide outlines how tactical urbanism is all about action. Also known as DIY urbanism, planning by doing, urban acupuncture, or urban prototyping, the approach refers to a city, organizational, or citizen-led approach to neighborhood building using short-term, low-cost, and scalable interventions to catalyze long-term change. This episode will further delve into the nature of tactical urbanism and the cultural significance of this theory, as well as some incredible projects that employ it and some challenges it may face. A bit about its history. Tactical urbanism arose as a response to slow and bureaucratic traditional urban planning processes. It started as a grassroots effort by passionate locals seeking quick improvements. The recent rise of tactical urbanism in North America stems from factors like urban population growth, the aftermath of the Great Recession, and a disconnect between government and citizens, signaling a need for cities to change fundamentally. The term was actually coined by Mike Lydon and Anthony Garcia, gaining traction through events like San Francisco Parking Day, as mentioned, where volunteers transformed parking spaces into parklets, sparking discussion on public spaces. Historical influences include movements like Abby Hoffman's Yippie movement and groups like Reclaim the Streets and Department of Space and Land Reclamation, inspiring grassroots action to reclaim public spaces. Tactical urbanism, in essence, emerged as a call to action born out of dissatisfaction with the political status quo, echoing Henri Lefebvre's Right to the City movement. But does tactical urbanism serve only as a means of challenging the status quo, or can it stand on its own as a tool for improving quality of life? The answer is a resounding yes. It empowers communities to take charge of their spaces and enact positive change, offering tangible solutions to enhance city vibrancy and livability. Tactical urbanism isn't just a one-size-fits-all approach. In fact, it's a dynamic blend of three key elements that often build up on each other. Let's dive into each one, shall we? So first, let's talk about the bottom-up approach of tactical urbanism. Unlike traditional urban planning, which can feel a bit rigid, tactical urbanism starts with citizens making intentional, flexible changes to their communities. It embraces the ever-changing nature of cities and sparks conversations about local resilience. Additionally, an important idea to consider is strategy versus tactics. In regards to urban development, strategy sets long-term goals, like boosting public transportation, for instance, but progress stalls without tactics. Tactics empower everyday people to make changes, bridging the gap between power and action. The second element is that tactical urbanism thrives on reusing unused spaces. From vacant lots to empty storefronts, these areas are transformed into vibrant hubs of activity by entrepreneurs, artists, and civic-minded individuals. It brings a touch of whimsy to cities and offers a different park and urban experience, one pop-up parklet at a time. Finally, community engagement and collaboration are essential. Tactical urbanism isn't just about flashy installations. It's about bringing people together. By involving residents, business owners, and stakeholders in the planning process, projects reflect the community's needs and aspirations. It fosters ownership and pride as everyone shapes the future of their own neighborhood. Imagine having a big idea to transform your city, but you're not sure if it'll work. That's where tactical urbanism steps in. It's like a playground for new ideas and creative solutions to urban challenges. Cities can try out temporary changes, experimenting to see what works. So why start small? Think of it like building a skyscraper. You need to test the foundation first. Tactical urbanism encourages taking small steps, learning as you go, and adjusting based on feedback. It's about making a big impact one step at a time. And affordability? Well, with tactical urbanism, you don't need a big budget. Using cheap materials and getting creative, communities can make positive changes without spending much. It shows that lack of resources is no excuse for inaction. Whether you're trying out bold ideas or making small improvements, tactical urbanism offers a hands-on, effective approach to city making. So grab your toolkit and let's get to work, one step at a time. Picture this: yarn-bombed street signs, crocheted bike racks, and statues adorned with cozy knitted sweaters. Well, that's the work of DIY urbanism, folks. It's all about individual expression and adding a splash of creativity to our streets. But here's the kicker. While it's fun and funky, DIY urbanism isn't necessarily about making big, long-term changes to our cities. It's more like a whimsical form of street art, bringing a smile to our faces without shaking up the status quo. Now let's come back to tactical urbanism. Sure, it involves the same idea, the same spirit as DIY, but it's got a big, just a little bit more oomph behind it. See, tactical urbanism isn't just about individuals getting crafty. It's about governments, developers, and nonprofits jumping in too. They're using tactical urbanism to test out ideas, shake up the scene, and make real tangible changes to our urban landscapes. It's like DIY urbanism's big brother, stepping in to turn those yarn-bound bike racks into something truly transformative. Tactical urbanism isn't always about rebellion. While some folks take bold actions like painting guerrilla crosswalks, others work within the system, like NYC's Department of Transportation, setting up chairs in Times Square. These projects blur the line between legal and not, but that's part of what makes them so special. People might not always notice the difference, but they appreciate the focus on people. I'm glad everyone's listening and hopefully enjoying this exploration of tactical urbanism, because next we'll dive into some incredible projects that encapsulate this transformative urban theory. It's 1997. In Portland, Oregon, a group of neighbors frustrated by the isolation despite living close to each other decide to take action. They transform an ordinary intersection into a vibrant community space, complete with a mural, a free library, a cozy suite of seating areas. This act of reclaiming urban space ignites the City Repair project. City Repair isn't just about fixing intersections. It's about building communities. Using permaculture, natural building techniques, and public art, this grassroots movement encourages civic participation and neighborhood placemaking. It all started with neighbors painting a mural and adding benches, kiosks, and lending a library to their intersection. What's remarkable about City Repair is how it started small but grew into something much larger. From a volunteer organization in 1997, it's now a non-profit supporting Portlanders and inspiring global neighborhood improvement efforts. They organize events like Earth Day celebrations and village building convergence, where hundreds work together on neighborhood projects. City Repair isn't just a local phenomenon, it's a global inspiration. Similar projects like Intersection Repair in Hamilton, Ontario, show how citizen-led initiatives can make a big impact on urban spaces. Another tactical urbanism project takes place in a city where almost half of all trips are 1 mile or less, and fewer than 10% of those trips are made on foot or by bike. Enter Matt Tomasulo, a concerned citizen who decided to change the narrative. In 2012, Tomasulo launched Walk Raleigh as a grassroots effort to promote walkability and encourage people to explore Raleigh through a clever guerrilla signage campaign. Tomasulo and his team anonymously installed signs around Raleigh, offering walking times to various destinations like the capital. These simple signs featured directional arrows and QR codes for smartphone users to scan for directions. The aim? To challenge perceptions about the necessity of driving for short trips and show that many places in the city were closer on foot than people might think. The project caught the city's attention. Recognizing its potential for public health, the environment, and community connectivity, Raleigh eventually endorsed the idea. With official backing, the project expanded, and signs were installed with approval, meeting safety and design standards. What started as a guerrilla initiative became a formalized program helping to make Raleigh a more walkable city for all. This was Sidewalk Stories, presenting Adventures in Tactical Urbanism, brought to you by your host, Charbel, researched and produced by Amos and Ikem. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for that dive into tactical urbanism. And sticking to the theme of whimsy, next we will be hearing from Sienna, Stella, and Emerald about playful urbanism. Playful urbanism includes many of the same whimsical qualities of tactical urbanism, but specifically with the goal of boosting people's moods and encouraging body movement. This next piece of audio will take you through some ways playful urbanism has been used in corporate spaces and throughout the city.
Welcome to Urbitecture, the podcast that gives you insight on architecture and urbanism, if you haven't noticed already. I'm Sienna.
I'm Emerald. And I'm Stella. Take life easily, lovingly, playfully, non-seriously. Seriousness is a disease, the greatest disease of the soul, and playfulness the greatest health. Today's quote is from Rajneesh, an Indian philosopher who targeted corporate employees and helped them improve their mental health and well-being through meditation and yoga.
Hey, that really captures our significant topic of today's podcast episode on playful urbanism.
I've never heard of playful urbanism before. I'm assuming with the word playful, it would relate to the pockets of fun intervention within a city. Such as Brimtown in Toronto?
Yes, that's exactly it. Today, we will delve into the different layers and aspects that can make a city playful for all.
Did you know that play and playfulness can help improve positive behavior? This is an important component to consider as a designer, as we know that our environment plays an important role in shaping who we are.
Yeah, you can tell how different people are when looking at their background or the cities they grew up in.
Yeah.
Understanding the importance of designing for the good of people, a company that might not come to your mind first when thinking about design, took on the challenge to make people more active. Anyone want to take a guess?
I know that Microsoft has incorporated design into their spaces. Is it that one?
Is it Apple? I would think the Apple Watch could do that.
Oh yeah, those are good guesses actually, but no, it's Volkswagen.
The automobile company?
Yes, the automobile company. They created a design concept based on persuasive technology of a musical staircase, which was built next to an escalator at the Oldenplan subway station in Stockholm, Sweden. The designer of the piano staircase aimed at changing people's behavior by transforming the stair into a giant piano keyboard.
A giant piano keyboard?
Oh, that's cool. How does that work?
Yeah, so basically, by applying pressure on each step, the staircase would play a musical note, a different one on each step. They filmed the experience, and by watching the video, you can see how curious commuters were to try the staircase and experiment with the sounds it creates.
Well, you don't see that often.
Yes, you're right. The Volkswagen experiment persuaded and motivated 66% more people to use the stair instead of the escalator throughout the day they shot the video. The piano staircase successfully helped people change their behavior by choosing a healthier and more active choice, with persuasive technology being making music.
Cool. It clearly shows the potential of how technology can persuade people by triggering new motivations to change an attitude, belief, or behavior through persuasion and social influence, not through coercion.
In our current society, we are dealing with an increasingly sedentary and inactive lifestyle with all the consequences. For example, obesity, diabetes, and those affect our health and well-being.
Yes, it's true, and play can help people be more active.
And also, whether if you're a child or an adult, it does help in terms of advocating age-friendly urban designs that can mitigate physical and social issues. Playgrounds and playfulness are often seen as a child's activities, yet play is beneficial in addressing the challenges of aging.
True. Typically, play is associated with children, and a lot of adults are embarrassed to show their inner child. It is hard to find friends that can explore, so I feel lonely at times.
Oh no. I can't imagine how that affects the older population.
Interesting that you said that, because around 43% of Americans aged 60 or above experience loneliness, and this condition is seen as a significant public health issue. Loneliness is already seen in the aging population. This had always been a concern, even before the COVID-19 pandemic.
I heard that experiencing loneliness is painful and leads to individuals feeling very vulnerable and distressed.
Yeah, loneliness not only affects mental health, but it naturally and unwittingly causes depression, as well as profound implications for physical health, such as decreasing cardiovascular health and cognitive aspects.
In some way, play can be a tool that helps make lives better because it is targeting all of these negative things and helping us, especially the elderly.
Oh yeah, I heard that the World Health Organization highlights an environmental condition that supports elder safety and involvement, which will help reduce isolation.
A Montreal-based design firm named Daily Tous les Jours aimed at making the city more fun and engaging for all age groups, which helped the elderly feel more accepted in the city. They created an urban installation called 21 Swings in Montreal that invites people of diverse backgrounds and ages to create music together. In some ways, it can function as an instinctive, melodic game, either individually or collaboratively.
Where is it located in Montreal?
It's downtown. It's basically a swing instead of a standard rest stop, making the rest stop more interesting.
Wow, this should be implemented in Ottawa. I wonder how that transformed the city.
This is a nice installation as it transformed the underused low-traffic areas into a playful zone that welcomes all. Having these kinds of urban habits that naturally pervade into the public fosters a sense of belonging in the communal area.
We should plan a trip to Montreal to try those swings.
Yes, definitely. On their website, they said that year after year, the installation has been a meeting point for millions of fans who swing more than 8,500 times every day, which is amazing for the community.
We ended up spending about an hour and a half here. I think it's amazing, and it's a really, really cool experience to be able to make music with your entire body.
We tried to figure out if we all went together at the same time, we would change the music. And it did. Definitely felt like, or the tempo was moving with us, and it felt like almost like plucking or strumming, like a harp.
The audio clip you just listened to was an interview of the users' experiences with 21 Swings. It is evident that the installation sparked joy and curiosity within them and will possibly continue to gain popularity with future tourists. Additionally, this project has already been implemented in other cities across the world.
Both precedents we explored today experimented with music. Seems like using senses like hearing can help making the sensorial experience of the city more playful.
I'm starting to see the benefits of incorporating playful installations into cities. A lot of people have created a distance between one another, and playful urbanism will allow people of all ages to gain curiosity in what this new thing is and engage in it.
Right? Especially during the pandemic, a lot of people lost touch with their social skills no matter their age.
You know, humans of different ages are beginning to grow distant from one another, as social communication tends to develop during familiar and daily places.
Yeah, for example, kids who were not able to develop their social skills and adults who lost their sense of community.
There was a project named Mi Casa, Your Casa, which means my house, your house in Spanish. This installation was first in Mexico City and then was further built in Atlanta, made by Azrieli Studio plus Cadena. This had individual seats and created a space for people to grow curious about what these spaces were.
If it was individual, would it engage social interaction?
That's the interesting turn of this installation. Jean Donne once said, "No man is an island," and this really speaks to the sense of individuality engaging social bond. Since this is an innovative idea and is new to a lot of people, it sparked people to get together and figure out how to utilize the space.
That's quite cool to see because during the COVID-19 pandemic, individuals tended to follow the behavior of their closer social network rather than the behavior that they perceive to occur in the rest of their country or the wider world. So this is prime example of people following each other's actions.
Mi Casa, Your Casa was also embedded with playgrounds for kids and seating areas for elders, so it really touches on that intergenerational part.
From what you're saying, I see playful urbanism helping city citizens revitalizing a natural human response and behavior, but also a sense of community.
Yes, you are right. Overall, play encourages social development as it allows children to interact with others, but also learn about social cues. This also teaches those of older ages like us to let loose, as communication in a professional setting is not always the most comfortable. We can feel a bond with extended groups, including non-kin interaction beyond a typical categorized group, and people that they have never met before. We hope you enjoyed today's conversation on playful urbanism and learned how it can benefit our society by improving learning and social engagement. Additionally, allowing people to recover from isolation enhanced by the pandemic.
But also how intergenerational design interweaves diverse and various communities, and this can help with the mitigation of exclusion and polarization within societies.
We also discuss how playful design can help promote good behavior and daily minor cardio. However, there are other design concepts that have aimed at making city dwellers even more physically active through intense exercise. Let's dive into it.
Here are some innovative design precedents around the globe to investigate if you want to learn more about playful urbanism intervention. One is Parkade of the Future in Canada by 5 for 6 Architecture.
Second, Swings Park in Taipei by City East and by Zurma. Third, Impulse, a light-up seesaw in New York City by Lateral Office.
Fourth, One Bucket at a Time in Mexico City by 456 Architecture. And lastly, for an even more physical concept, you can look into parkour and Olympic Park design.
If you want to go even further, take a look at some other interesting topics in relation to playful urbanism.
The economical effect on the city, and innovative ideas to solve the environmental problems.
Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Urbitecture. Join us next week for more insight about architecture and urbanism. See you next week, Urbi fam!
Thank you so much for that exploration into playful urbanism. And I have a deep philosophical question, which is, if stairs can be made into a piano, can an escalator be made into a keyboard? I want you listeners to think about that one. I want to thank the scholars that contributed to the work we heard today, and to Dr. Harris-Brandt for being so open to this collaboration. If you like this episode, we'll have more discussion around urbanism for you in 2 weeks. But for now, have a look at theplaceofsound.ca, where you can see writings and photos that go along with this audio work. You can also stay up to date by following us on Instagram at The Place of Sound. Thank you all for tuning in, and happy listening.